Ethan Parker had once been full of dreams. As a child, he spent hours sprawled on the floor of his grandmother's house, filling notebooks with stories of knights, lost cities, and magic realms. His grandmother, Eleanor Parker, had been his first reader, hanging on to every word as if he were already a best-selling author. "You have a gift, Ethan," she would say, ruffling his messy brown hair. "One day the world will read your stories." Her unwavering belief in him carried him through the hardest times. When his parents divorced and his father moved away, leaving him behind. When he struggled to fit in at school, finding more comfort in books than in people. When he doubted himself, his grandmother was always there to remind him that his words mattered. It was in her sunlit living room that he met Charlie, the golden-furred puppy she had rescued from a shelter. Charlie had been his constant companion, lying beside him as he wrote, licking his face when he grew frustrated, curling up at his feet during stormy nights. He was more than a pet, he was family. Charlie had a unique way of understanding Ethan's moods. On difficult days, he would nuzzle Ethan's arm, coaxing him to take a break. He would sit patiently beside the boy as he read stories out loud, as if absorbing every word. At night, when Ethan would wake from nightmares, Charlie would press close, his warmth a quiet reassurance that he was never alone. But then life took its course. Ethan grew up. He left for college in the city, pursuing a degree in literature. He promised to visit often, but life got in the way. Calls became infrequent, visits even more so. He chased his dreams with reckless ambition, determined to prove that his stories belonged in the world. Then came the rejections. One after another, publishers turned him away. His manuscripts were met with polite refusals or, worse, silence. The words that had once flowed so easily now felt like a burden. His confidence crumbled. And then, the worst blow of all, his grandmother passed away. Ethan never got the chance to say goodbye. By the time he returned home, Charlie was gone, too. He had been told the old dog had wandered off one day, never returning. What no one could explain was how Charlie had always waited by the porch for Ethan, even after he had long stopped coming. The neighbors had seen him pacing, looking toward the street, as if expecting his best friend to return. Until one day he disappeared. Ethan blamed himself for the missed phone calls, for the letters he had never answered, for leaving behind the only people who had ever truly believed in him. And so he stopped writing. Days turned into months, months into years. Now, at 32, Ethan lived in a tiny apartment on the outskirts of town, barely scraping by as a copy editor for an online magazine. His typewriter sat untouched, the stories inside him buried under self-doubt. Winter had settled in, bringing a deep loneliness that felt impossible to shake. And then, one morning, the paw print appeared on his doorstep. Ethan stared at the imprint in the frost, his breath curling in the cold air. Too large for a cat, too defined to be from the wind. He stepped outside, looking up and down the empty street. Nothing. Brushing it off as coincidence, he returned inside. But the next morning, the paw print was there again. And the morning after that. By the fourth day, Ethan couldn't ignore it. He crouched down, running his fingers over the fresh imprint. Someone or something had been here in the early hours before dawn. And then he saw him. A scruffy, gray-muzzled dog sat on the sidewalk, gazing at him with warm, amber eyes. His fur was a blend of brown and white, with streaks of silver betraying his age. Ethan's breath caught. "Where did you come from?" The dog simply wagged his tail once and stood. Then, without hesitation, he turned and trotted away. Ethan hesitated, then found himself following. The dog led him through the winding streets of the neighborhood, past familiar storefronts and quiet alleyways. Ethan's pulse quickened as they neared the outskirts of town, his boots crunching against the thin layer of frost. Finally, they stopped in front of an old house. Ethan's stomach clenched. He knew this house. It was his grandmother's. The wooden shutters were worn, the roof sagging slightly, but it was still standing, just as he remembered it. His heart pounded as he slowly climbed the porch steps, memories crashing over him like a tidal wave. Afternoons spent reading with his grandmother, the scent of her lavender perfume, the sound of Charlie's paws padding against the wooden floors. The dog sat by the door, looking at him expectantly. Ethan hesitated before knocking. After a moment, the door creaked open an inch, revealing an elderly woman with kind blue eyes. She gasped softly, pressing a hand to her chest. "Oh," she whispered, "you came." Ethan frowned. "Do I know you?" She smiled sadly. "Come in, dear. There's something you need to see." The house smelled of old paper and lavender. The walls were lined with shelves overflowing with books, their pages yellowed with time. The woman shuffled toward a wooden cabinet, her hands trembling slightly as she pulled open a drawer. She retrieved an envelope, its edges worn, and handed it to Ethan. "This belongs to you." Ethan stared at it. His name was written on the front in careful, slanted handwriting. His heart nearly stopped. It was his grandmother's handwriting. With shaking fingers, he opened the envelope and unfolded the letter inside. "Dear Ethan, I don't know if this letter will ever find you, but if it does, I need you to remember something. You are a writer. No matter how many times you want to give up, you have something inside you that deserves to be shared. I believed in you then, and I believe in you now. Keep writing. Even if no one reads it, even if you doubt yourself, keep writing. Because one day your words will matter more than you know. With love, Grandma Eleanor." Ethan's breath hitched. He gripped the letter tightly, his vision blurring with unshed tears. A nudge at his side broke him from his thoughts. He looked down at the old dog beside him, amber eyes shining with patience and understanding. And in that moment he knew. His heart clenched as a memory surfaced. His grandmother's garden. A golden-furred puppy curled beside him as he wrote his first stories. Ethan knelt down, running his fingers through the dog's fur. "Charlie!" The dog wagged his tail. A sob broke free from Ethan's chest as he wrapped his arms around him, the weight of years of regret and loneliness finally lifting. Charlie had come back. Somehow, someway, he had found his way home. That night, Ethan sat at his desk, his grandmother's letter beside him. The weight of the past no longer felt like a burden. It felt like a guiding hand. For the first time in years, he placed his fingers on the keys of his typewriter, and he began to write, because some bonds, no matter how much time passes, are never truly broken.